It's Bourbon Night. Hello, I'm Chad.
I'm Sarah.
And welcome to a new year and some new expressions from Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Yeah.
The Origin Series.
New series.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
We've been looking forward to this ever since we got a little sneak preview, right?
Yeah, we gotta try them in October. The almost finished versions in October of 2022, and ever since we've tried them, I've been super excited about these coming out because of the quality, the 6-year age statement, and then also just the price. A thing of such quality coming from a big distillery, at this time in the bourbon market, for an affordable price, it's not something that you see every day anymore.
So let's get these poured up and then we'll talk more about that. If you're watching this on the day that this video is released, these are both available as of today.
Exciting. At
the distillery, and you should be shortly rolling out to retailers. The rye will not be available for
a few months.
So we'll save this and review it when it comes to market.
Sure, but we'll go ahead and give you the specs on it at the end of the episode, so you know what to look for.
When we get there. So before we get into the review, and if you do want to just skip to the review, there are chapter marks, you can do that, but we want to talk just for a second about why this is so important.
I feel like a lot of you who are familiar with Bardstown Bourbon Company are probably more familiar with their Discovery series, which, comes in around $120, $130, or some of their famous collaborations like the Chateau de la Baude and other things like that, which are upwards of $130 to the $200 and so range.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of more limited, higher price things coming from them that also contain some source juice. This is interesting because it is all their own distillate, and the price point, like all of the 3 bottles in this series are all under $80, which I think is just a huge statement from them.
Yeah, and I think because, they're sort of now entering a price point that they weren't normally in. They had Fusion, which is around $50, but again, some people are just, for some reason, they shy away from source things, and we don't get that, especially since Bardstown Bourbon Company has made their name working with other distilleries and sourcing for them and blending. But for those people who, for some reason, have that inclination, this is 100% their own stuff, and it's 45, 50, and 70. Well, full-size bottle.
A full-size bottle. This is a sample.
This is just a sample. So it is a completely new price point for them and for a newer distillery.
Right, sure. We're talking about within the last 10 years.
Yeah, going up against all the big guys, you don't see newer distilleries kind of entering in that price point with such specs, But we're gonna start off with what they're just calling their Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, which is 96 proof and a price point of $45 suggested retail price. Yes. They keep their transparency here. This one we're getting ready to taste, 6-year age stated, and it's a 60% corn, 36% rye, and a 4% malted barley. So it is a high-rye bourbon.
Do like a high-rye bourbon.
We should also say that we paid for these. These were not given to us, spent our own money on it.
But this is a preview bottle.
Yes,
but we did
that's
pay
the
for
only
it.
one, but like I said, we're gonna save that for another video. Ooh, a little citrusy.
It has citrus, but also the spice from the rye is coming through, and I really like that higher percentage of rye used in this, especially when they're putting it against, in their series, a wheater. Like, I think it does well to have that higher percentage of rye.
Sort of orange zest.
Yeah.
Kind of in there.
Yeah, orange and apricot, and I like that against, with the spice, but then also those caramel vanilla notes.
You're still getting some oak in there. Pretty nice little nose.
It's nice and light.
To your health. Yeah.
I think, all those flavors carry through.
With more of a cinnamon pop on the palate than on the nose. But 96 proof, close to that 100 proof mark, which I know a lot of people love. But the higher rye, I feel like is,
it lingers.
It does linger.
On the finish, that spicy, like a little bit of pepper cinnamon note hangs out.
Going down into a Kentucky hug. Pretty nice off that first sip. I'm not a huge hug, but it is spreading out.
A tingle.
Which is enjoyable.
It has a little bit of a silky smooth up front. It's a bit coating, for a 96 proof. Like, I don't expect the world's best mouthfeel from it because it has been diluted down, but it still maintains that, that kind of coating and that warmth. I think this is really easy, really approachable. If this was your first bottle from Bardstown Bourbon Company, I think that you'd be very pleased. For them to put this forward as potentially the lowest price product that they offer, I think that they're really putting forward a good foot of making a statement about who they are.
Yeah, I guess if this is going to be more their introduction, right, to the distillery, I don't think you would be disappointed at all in knowing that you can also step up and into things like the Discovery series, or you got a lot of room to move in their expressions.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, we're getting ready to move over to the Bottled and Bond Weeder, also a 6-year age statement. Before we do, we'll tell you about our home on the internet. It's whiskyambitions.com. Do you know that's where you can get the 2 long sleeves that we're wearing? A little chilly today, so we went with the long sleeves. Also our hats, all of our glassware, bottle cut candles, and more that's always coming soon at whiskyambitions.com.
And you can become a patron at patreon.com/itsbourbonite and join our community for as little as $1 a month and hang out with us in 2023. Where we'll be putting after the episode exclusives out and doing barrel picks and a lot of other fun things.
Yeah, might be back at Bardstown Bourbon Company doing another preview of something like we did last year.
Which was with a bunch of patrons.
That was with a bunch of patrons. Yeah.
So there you go.
And we'll be right back. Okay, the also 6-year, same age statement, wheated bourbon. Yeah. So this one, as I said, $5 more, so it's suggested retail of $49.99. This is 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley. So
I like that malted barley percentage.
yeah, similar to like Heaven Hill with their 12% malted barley, which we really like. Will this
it just gives it
translate?
That richer, nuttier, earthier. I don't know. I really like that. So
yeah,
I'm excited to see if that kind of plays out here too. Oh, I almost went in for the sip.
let's smell it. Let's buy dinner first, Sarah.
I got excited.
Wow.
I definitely get the malted barley, the higher presence of malted barley on the nose.
And also the wheat letting the sweetness of the corn and also the barley doing its thing, room to shine through. Yeah, this one comes off a little bit earthier. 4 points higher in proof, more of less fruity characteristics that the Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey was giving off, more earthiness.
And like a chocolate, toffee, brown sugar. This one's, I think, going a bit richer.
Darker notes.
Yeah, darker, earthy baking spice type. Or not baking spice, baked goods, sugars and chocolates and things.
Baked goods.
Whereas this one was a little bit more fruit and spice.
Agreed. All right. To your health again.
Don't ask me to choose between these two. Please don't ask me to choose.
I don't know. I think I'm leaning in one way.
Again, with the coating and the drinkability on this one, I think, it's easy, it's approachable, but it's still got a lot of flavor layers going on without being, while it's at 100 proof.
I'm getting sort of a chocolate note on this one. Cocoa, earthiness.
Like chocolate toffee type
Yeah, chocolate toffee. There you go.
And again, I just love to see their 6-year-old, because it didn't have to be 6 years old.
Right.
Didn't have to be bottled and bond, but to go 6-year-old bottled and bond at $50, which I know some people might say, well, for 100 proof, $50 is a lot. And I just feel like in today's market, that's playing pretty normally. Heaven Hill has a 7-year-old bottled and bond that's what, 55?
Yeah, it's
pushing
over
60?
50. It's over 50.
So I feel like this, when you compare it to similar things in today's market, 5 years ago I would have been like, oh, $50.
Well, 5 years ago they had the 6-year Heaven Hill that was $15.
$15. A lot has changed.
Or not.
This is where we live now, right? Yeah. And I think it's very fairly priced compared to what else is out there. And I just love to see, again, them putting their own distillate forward in this way.
I agree. Tough choice, Sophie's choice, but I'm going with the wheated here.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. By the end of this episode, you have to choose.
I will pros and cons it for you.
Okay.
No, I mean, truly, like some people will say, I have $100, I'd love to get a nice bottle, or I'd love to get something I haven't tried before. And I'd say, why not have two? I mean, why not get them both, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
For the reasons that you said, I'm really into the wheater. Just those yummy, chocolatey, brown sugar, earthy notes. But there's something about this citrus spice.
Well, yes, you're talking, two different ballparks, right? 36% rye bourbon, 20% wheat bourbon, 4% malted barley, 12% malted barley. The great thing about it, for them being $5 apart and only 4 points in proof apart, if they were this similar mash bills, you'd be like, why such little difference? But these are completely different animals. Yeah, for sure.
Which is why I don't think it's fair to say one or the other. I mean, I guess I could say which one I prefer.
Which is?
It would depend on the day.
Well, today's today.
I think this one would make a really nice old fashioned.
Oh, I agree.
The High-Rye Bourbon, just because of those orangey spice
it would
notes.
Cut through, yeah.
And I think at $45 a bottle, it's not gonna.
That's about the upper echelon of what we normally put into cocktails. But
it's not gonna hurt your feelings to make one or two.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But neat pours.
Neat pours.
Yeah, neat pours, Sarah.
Well, I still feel like I would want them both, but
yeah, me too. Repeat viewing, or pouring that second glass, coming back to it. Feel like I would just reach here first. I would still reach here, but something about that wheater for me is putting it just a hair ahead.
This feels like comfort food of bourbon, more of like, you know, your mac and cheese mashed potatoes, like just good and yummy. And but this to me is like a little bit more of an adventurous meal.
I could see that.
And
yeah, that's a good analogy.
I think I might give it by a hair to the wheater just because I really like that 100 proof, and those notes are.
I knew I'd get over on my side.
But that'd be 6 days out of 10 days, and the other 4 days I would pick this one.
Okay. Well, you know, let's do it like it's an uncorking episode, recommend or not. I'm boom boom. I mean, $45-$50 for the quality that's in the bottle. Age statement is always nice, but it's ages and everything. You know, Bardstown Bourbon Company, they're as old as we are. 2016 is when we both started. So to see them finally come out with 100% their own product, and they waited not just the 4 years to have this bottled and bond on here, but 2 additional years till it was tasting just right for everyone there at the company. And that is something they do. They have everyone that works there weigh in on blends, and I'm sure they have them, you know, tasting these things as they're aging in the barrel to get feedback too. That's really saying something, and that's why we sort of talked more in the beginning before we got to the review about how sort of a big deal this is.
I'm impressed because we've been on tours there before where we've gotten to try, you know, straight from the barrel distillate that was about 2 years old.
Yeah.
And when I tried that, I was very impressed. So I could easily see where at 4 years they could have said, this will work.
Let's roll with it.
I don't think I would have argued, because when I tried the 2-year, I thought this is one of the best 2-year-old that I've,
of course,
like,
that was
2-year-old whiskeys.
Cast strength.
Right, that I have ever had at cast strength.
Right.
I appreciate it. You know, I think the consumer appreciates not just anyone saying, what can we get away with, right?
Right.
And how much can we charge and still get away with it? Which I feel like the market can feel a little predatory in that way. Sometimes these distilleries are trying to pull one over on you, like, how young can I make it? How much can I blend into it and charge it for $100 plus, and you won't notice and you'll still buy it.
Exactly.
I feel like the transparency and everything, there's none of that going on here.
I agree. Now, we'll give you the skinny on this guy. Again, this is a 200 ml sample because the full 750 bottles aren't available yet. This current sample is 5 years and 8 months old. So when this turns 6 years, it'll be going to market, which we've heard is going to be around March or April of 2023. Now this is a 95.5 rye, so 95% rye, 5% malted barley, but it's also a finished rye.
Yes.
Yeah, so they do basically a zebra barrel where it's alternating different types of staves.
It's cherry wood.
Yeah, an American oak. So imagine a zebra barrel like that. And it's also infrared charred.
We really liked it when we sampled it, and we'll, like you said, we'll crack this open on its own review closer to the time when it comes out, just to be accessible for you all. But $70,
$70, $69.99. Finished for 6 months in that secondary barrel. Rye is a more expensive grain to work with, but yeah, for $69.99, 96 proof as well. I will just say that we have tried it and it is really good. So, but we'll wait.
We haven't tried the 6-year version.
We haven't tried the full-fledged 6-year,
Yeah.
but we don't want to make this video too long.
But as you said, these two dropped today as of the posting of this video, so we're really excited. I think, you know, for you guys to have access to these coming soon in your area, and as you try them, we want to know what you think. Do you agree with us? I think these are really great value, and I'm really excited for the community to be able to have something like this.
Yeah, let us know down in the comments. But that's where we'll leave it. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to us already, you know what you can do? You can do it by clicking up here. There's suggestions of other videos down here. We hope to see you over there in one of those. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Chad.
Okay, we'll see you guys later. Until then, drink more bourbon.